ladies and gentlemen, it's 6 o'clock. Welcome you to the Payson City Council meeting for November 16th, 2022, and the time is 6 o'clock. I will go ahead and open this meeting with prayer, and I've asked Council Christensen to lead us in the pledge. Father in heaven, as we come before this time, we're so very thankful for many blessings that thou hast bestowed upon us, none the least of which is living here in this city and state and country. Please bless all those that are in the military to be safe. Bless us all in the problems that we have each day. Please bless us as a city council and staff to make the appropriate decisions for our city and for the future of our citizens. Help us and be with us, Father, and we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Everybody please rise. Pledge with me. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll go on and with the consent agenda. Approval of the November 2nd, 2022 City Council minutes. Unless there's any discussion on that consent agenda, I'll accept a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda for November 2nd.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion that's been seconded. Roll call vote starting with Council Beecher,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Christensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Going on to C petitions, the public forum. Anyone can speak on items not on the agenda. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less if you can, and we'll go ahead and open it public forum. Please remember to identify yourself as you come up.
Some of you might remember me. I live in the neighborhood on 200 South. And I noticed there were some things discussed on November 2nd. I want to provide some clarification of how my neighborhood feels about that discussion.
Okay.
In addition, follow up to some questions that I had several months ago. First, discuss that our neighborhood felt comfortable with Business Park in that area. That is not accurate. We simply chose the lesser. We're not happy with Business Park or I-1 in any way. Secondly,
What's your address again?
200 South.
Next to the.
Intermountain Nutrition.
Okay,
Intermountain
okay,
Nutrition.
down in that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That
Okay.
island of a neighborhood right there.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep. Secondly, Robert Mills stated that he would be reaching out to the neighbors to inform us about the potential zoning changes from Business Park to I-1. We haven't heard anything. I think we've received one paper since the Spring Creek discussions have started. So that's disappointing that the residents aren't more informed about potential changes that could impact their livelihoods. And then I believe Councilmember Christensen gave an example of the train going by and how that's no more inconvenient than potentially changing the zoning to I-1. I don't think that's an accurate statement because the frequency of the train, yes, it is inconvenient, but we all had knowledge of the train before we moved into that neighborhood. And the frequency of the noise of the train versus several I-1 zonings wouldn't be comparable. Let's see. The next thing I want to bring up is something I discussed in September about the speed limit on 200 South, which was also brought up on the November 2nd meeting. And it seems like you guys have some concerns about it, but you're unsure. Initially, when I brought it up, it seemed like the city wasn't sure if they own 200 South or who owns that. I've reached out to UDOT, they say they don't. Reached out to the state, they say they don't. So that kind of narrows it down. I hope that you guys have figured out that. Is that the case?
Well, I believe we didn't know that we had the road, but we do to us. It's part of that. It's not wholesale, but
Yeah. Well, that's good. It means you guys have some authority to make some changes.
although there also comes with responsibilities of some of the people that front that road as well.
So right now, the speed limit is 40 past my neighborhood and then goes down to 25 around that S bend. As you guys discussed in the last meeting, the request in my neighborhood is that 25-mile-an-hour speed limit gets moved to just west of our neighborhood to slow down the traffic in front of the houses and then all the way through the bend. We feel like it'd be safe.
Okay.
And the last comment, I believe from Councilmember Christensen again, is that the evolution of cities, typically, we all expect there's going to be growth, especially how the economy's been these past couple of years. Things have just been going crazy. And with that comes commercial. With our neighborhood being isolated and surrounded by potentially business park or I-1, the comment was, as commercial businesses come in around neighborhoods, they get bought up and at typically a higher price because commercial property is sold by the square foot. And our concerns as a neighborhood is the quality of life up until that point. And with the reputation of American Way not necessarily being filled for several years, and the commercial around the theater, are we going to get some I-1 in there and be banking like, okay, we're going to hold off on it until this patch of land becomes a hot commodity, or are we going to be sitting on this thing with almost zero value in it for, a long time? So I guess my point in that is the same question I brought up in September is what is the city doing to protect our quality of life and our assets? I don't know if you guys have thought about that or.
Well, one of the problems there is where it's located, and as the railroad was mentioned there, and that's an area that's very important to different entities as well, and so it presents a problem that way, and it is, as you say, it is isolated. It's out away from any other residential area, and so it gives us a substantial conundrum, I guess, if you would say.
Yeah, agreed. The last point I want to bring up is almost every city council meeting that I've either looked up the scripts for or watched the videos on or been involved in keeps on being mentioned that our neighborhood is already surrounded by industrial. We have the nutrition plant to the west of us, and now we have the concrete batch plant to the north of us. I feel like that's an inaccurate statement because that nutrition plant has been empty for the majority of my life. So really there was zero inconvenience because no one was ever there,
But the potential was always there because the building was there.
The potential is always there, yeah. And then the batch plant is a very, very recent thing,
Yeah.
so.
Which I think we mentioned in the, we had no idea. We were kind of blindsided with that as well.
Yeah, agreed. And we've established that that's a county thing, and so no fault on you guys for that. I just wanted to clear up some things on the behalf of my neighborhood and
Okay,
make sure that you guys keep us in your thoughts and make sure that you're, looking out for your residents and their best interest.
you bet.
So, thank you.
We appreciate that. And you are in our thoughts, you are.
Perfect.
Okay, is there any other citizens that would like to address us in the public forum, whether they're here or online? Anybody online? Come on up. Please, if you would identify yourself and let us know who you are when you get up to the pulpit. And we'll give you the time you need, but try to make your comments as short as you can.
Sounds good. Hi, my name is Natasha Beakley. I'll take this off. It's warm in here.
You bet.
This is my first city council meeting. I'm very excited. I'm trying to be a little bit more involved in local politics and such. But I took some notes. some of the questions may be more relevant than others. I'm sort of new to this, so be patient with me, but I have 4 things I wanted to ask about. First off, thank you guys for all you do. I'm excited to be a part of this. My first question, this is kind of for my neighbor. She's curious about the status of the Payson Main Street renovation. I read about it in the Chamber of Commerce.
And that's going to be talked about a little bit later on the
Perfect.
agenda. So just stand by there and we'll maybe answer some of your questions.
Sounds good. The next one is kind of regarding it, but it's not really, because from what I read, the Payson Main Street renovation is just 100 north and south of that. Am I correct?
100 north to 700 south.
Are there any plans to do some updating to the roads north of 100 south and south of the freeway?
That's a state highway, so there wouldn't be any plans for us to be doing that. From 100 north out to the freeway,
Mhm.
that's a state highway and it would fall under their purview, not the cities.
Okay, they being who?
The state of Utah, UDOT.
Cool. U dot.
Yeah.
Wrote that down. All right, this one, I know it's probably not something that you are in control of, but something you might know more about than I do, or than I can find on the internet. Do you know any updates or the status of UTA's front runner extension plan?
I can tell you just briefly, it's ongoing. The front runner corridor has been studied to see what form of transportation would be, mass transit would be best. The front runner came out as the winner, so tracks or BRT, which is bus rapid transit, or front runner. Front runner was determined to be the most logical one. Right on the heels of that, UTA and Mountain Land Association, the government had put together about $5 million to do a environmental study in the EIS. That's ongoing as we're talking, and that would take in the area of a year or so to do that. It is connected to an interchange there that we're working hard on to make it. It's already real as far as being signed, but we need to get it funded. And so, and also right adjacent to that would be a UVU campus, about a 38-acre campus. So all 3 of those are going to have to come together, and we're working on all 3 at the same time.
Which hopefully will alleviate the problem on Main Street as well.
Possibly, because they'll have to accommodate the traffic there.
No, it's actually, it's a different off-ramp altogether.
Yeah, that's why that new interchange is envisioned. Yes.
New interchange. Wait, are they building another exit?
Well, that again, we don't have enough time to go into all the nuances of it, but there is a record of decision that's been signed about a half mile to the north, in between Payson and Benjamin Spanish Fork, about a half mile from the existing Payson Main Street. There is a interchange that will be built, and there'll be a road coming off of that that's called the Nebo Beltway, and it will link up Elk Ridge and Woodland Hills. Another way to get to the freeway, so they don't have to come through Payson City or Spanish Fork or Salem to get to the freeway.
So it's just like, it's north of the Main Street exit?
Just about a half mile.
Okay, interesting. I didn't know that. Thank
Yeah.
you. All right, the last question. I saw a billboard posted. I live right by the Main Street exit. By my questions, but I live right by there, and I noticed that some land was recently purchased where there's going to be some sort of business park being built there.
Yeah, we're
Just
currently
west of
we're going through with the developer there, and we've had to work with the developer, the city staff, and also UDOT again, because of the plans for the eventual relining of that interchange with the new one. And so we're currently going through that process.
So what are they building there?
There'll be warehouse buildings, but they'll look like office buildings. It'd be very good for that area of the city. They're first-class buildings. We've seen them over in Linden. That's an example of that new Linden area that's been built up. It'll be similar to some of those buildings.
Okay, good to know. Those are all my questions.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Don't see anyone else, unless we do have somebody else here that would like to speak to us. Anybody online, Kim? Okay, not having any more, would like to go ahead and close the public forum. We'll go on to staff reports. Okay, Carl. Get you out of here so you can go to your activity
I just wanted to briefly mention our historical group preservation committee is meeting monthly. We're working on putting together some timeline of history to get on the webpage. We've recently as well have some filming done in the museum at the Petite Neat Museum. The DUP will be coming soon, and then that'll be a narrated kind of walking tour put up as well, so that's visible. So that's ongoing, and we're working on that. We had received the historic grant this year from the state, and funds are going that direction. And then also Brett was there last night as well. We met with the Forebay committee, and that committee's working well and meeting monthly and continue to move forward on the conservation efforts and the uses of Forebay. So thank you.
Okay, thanks, Carl. Any other staff that would like to address us? Yep, come on up, Janine.
Mayor and City Council, I'm hoping you've noticed that we've been starting to decorate for Christmas. So I'm hoping that we all don't work hard enough that we hate Christmas by the time we're done getting ready for Christmas. It takes a lot of time. I want to thank the park crew especially. Wes has been up in those trees for the last week, getting those trees ready for Main Street. And he's very detailed and doing a great job. And Ashley and Dixon have been working hard, putting up all the stuff at the Petite Neat and the park as well. And I know Tracy also has been working on the new nativity that will be in the park. So it'll be really fun. The Petite Neat now is all decorated also. So it is the most beautiful time to see the museum. So make sure you stop by. A lot of time has been put into that and it's really beautiful. So just a couple events that are coming up. If I can get my phone to turn on. So we have November 25th, the day after Thanksgiving, we have our Santa Dash. And this is our 7th year doing this. I changed the way we register, so I'm still hoping we have a good crowd. I know Linda's coming, she's so good to support. In the past, we've had the kids come to sing. That actually, if you can believe, it was too many people at the museum. So I'm not having the schools come and sing this year. So we're strictly just doing the Santa Dash. We're changing the dash this year because so we're going to run down west. So from the fountains at the museum, we'll go down Utah Avenue. So we'll hit Main Street. So we'll see all those beautiful lights. So in my mind, the lights will come on as we're running along. And then we're going to go to the park and cut through the park. So I'm hoping then the lights will come on then. Wes is good enough to work with me to make all the magic happen. Then we'll come around the pickleball courts, head all the way back up to Utah Avenue, come back up to the Petite Neat. And then once everyone gets up there, we'll turn on the lights there and do donuts and hot chocolate. So it'll be really fun. Then the next weekend is the Petite Neat Christmas Boutique. This is also the 7th year and it's really popular. So I have a lot of people who want to be vendors. Only have room for 23. So they've been full for a while, but it's really fun putting vendors in each room. It's a win-win for the Petite Neat. I get a lot of people coming in, not only seeing the museum, but also buying Christmas gifts for people that they know. So anyway, I hope you all be there to support Santa Dash. I always need help handing out water, handing out hot chocolate and donuts and high fives to the runners. So anyway, Petite Neat, the boutique, you know, if you want to come and help when Santa's there, that would be great too. So thank you.
Thanks, Janine. Okay. Any other staff? Not seeing any, we'll go ahead and move to council reports. Kirk, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay, we can hear you. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm just glad I'm not there making you guys sick. So that's
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, Council Hyatt. Okay, Council Carter.
I've been going up Main Street a lot. Of course I do to go home. And I might have given some of the workers a hard time, harassing them a little bit, yelling out the doors, windows at them, but talk about work hard. Those gentlemen really work hard. I noticed that Mr. Fairbanks is always standing at the bottom, telling them what to do. And I told him he needed to get up in the tree once, but he's too old. So anyway,
Why you standing?
yeah, that's why he's standing. So I so appreciate those guys. They really work hard, and the park looks wonderful. I noticed they were putting up the big tree in the park today, and I appreciate Janine and all that she does this time of year. I started 7 years ago with a grandson that did the Santa Dash. And it was so fun that I've managed to be there every year, even though I didn't have a grandchild to watch. And the kids are so excited, and it's a lot of fun to be there. Anyway, I just want to thank all the employees because they do such a good job. Thank you.
Council Christensen.
I'd just like to say amen to that. Totally agree. They've been doing a great job. City's looking great. Thanks.
I might add to, in regards to the Christmas decorations, we've been the benefactor of being able to get some really firsthand, very top-notch Christmas decorations that at a very, very reasonable price because of an unfortunate state problem. So I don't know that we're going to be able to put all of what we've got up, but it'll be a multi-year thing, but it'll look very, very nice. Okay, we're moving on. Chief Bishop, your new officer, we're excited to be introduced.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, we'd like to bring up Trey Talcock. He's one of our newest officer. He was going to be sworn in tonight, but the judge beat us to the point and swore us in. But I just wanted Trey to come by and show his face. And Trey comes to us from San Pete. Well, not originally. He grew up southeast of the hospital in the neighborhood there. So he's a long time resident of Payson, and he's been on our ambulance department for about 3 years. And we kind of I didn't, but some of probably the audience there talked him into coming to the police department because he was working for the San Pete Sheriff's Office already in the detention facility there. So we were lucky enough to buy him from I always tease him that we bought him from the county there, but
Wonderful to be bought.
It was a great purchase to make. He's a great kid, and we're excited to have him. And I just wanted to bring him and introduce him to the council tonight and welcome him aboard to Payson City and the police department. So,
is there anything that you'd like to tell us about yourself? Just shove the chief out of the way and let him. There you go.
No, just that, like you said, I was on the ambulance for 3 years here. I grew up here, and I'm excited to continue my service to the city. So I appreciate you guys bringing me along, and I'm excited for it.
Are you going to move back?
I don't plan to.
Don't blame me.
Oh, you're traveling from San Pete County to here?
Yes, ma'am.
Teresa has a huge farm out there. Maybe she'd let you move in down there.
Trey, what was
Actually,
your
yeah,
last name?
the trailer's not being used right now. There's no fire talc out there.
Talcott. Okay.
In which city are you living in?
Fountain Green. That's a great place. Yep, it is. Well, welcome. Appreciate you coming.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on here is discussion regarding dog park. I'd like to suggest to the council that we go ahead and table that. Unfortunately, Council Proscard's not feeling well and is not able to join us, and he would like to be part of that conversation. So if it takes a motion, does it take a motion to do that, or just a discussion? Just because, okay, we'll move on then, if that's okay with the council.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay, we'll go on to D, action items, ordinance amendments to the general plan regarding moderate income housing. Robert, you're already getting ready.
I'm ready for this. This is
Okay.
the main event.
Yes.
Can we table this? No.
We're already behind time.
We're already in trouble.
Yep.
Start this real quickly. There we go. Okay, so as was mentioned, there were some deadlines. I have been in contact with the Department of Workforce Housing or not the Department of Workforce Housing, the Department of Workforce Services, who is over moderate income housing. They're charged with this. They've been so gracious and understanding, and many cities in Utah are facing the same situation of understanding what moderate income housing is for our city and where we're going. Most of you know, and you've seen this slide before, the legislature made some changes to moderate income housing this legislative session. So HB 462, it changed the reporting a little bit. So this year in 2022, the state is more interested in what we are going to be doing as far as strategies for upcoming, to address upcoming moderate income housing needs than what the actual numbers are and things like that. And so that's what we've been focused on in here. With the changes to that HB 462 brought, there was an emphasis on creating strategies for cities like Payson to use to implement moderate income housing. So the legislature went through and created this enormous list of possibilities, and cities like Payson were supposed to choose 3 that we would be implementing. We had a discussion a couple weeks ago, or about a month ago or so, about what strategies we would be using, and we felt that these strategies up here on the screen are very similar to what we currently have and what we've been working towards, and they fit in well and they're achievable. So strategy 1, to demonstrate investment in or rehabilitation of or expansion of infrastructure that facilitates the construction of moderate income housing. We felt that this was really closely tied to all of the infrastructure improvements that we are doing in the city, specifically with our updates to the sewer treatment plant. There's no way that we can construct moderate income housing without the upgrades that we're doing. And so that made a lot of sense. Strategy 2 was to zone or rezone for higher density or moderate income housing in residential development in commercial or mixed use zones near major transit investment corridors, commercial centers, or in employment centers. This is something that Payson City is very comfortable with doing already. We've gone through a general plan process that has identified the areas where our city is going to grow as surrounding transportation nodes. And we've done that. The council has been working on this strategy for quite some time, and we anticipate this moving into the future. So putting density where it makes sense.
Where it belongs.
Yeah. And strategy 3, to create or allow for and reduce regulations related to internal or detached accessory dwelling units in residential zones. This is something that the city has been moving towards. Payson City has allowed internal accessory dwelling units for a long time. And we anticipate that through our future code revisions that we're going to be working on, that this is something specifically we want to be looking at. This is a strategy that we feel could be incorporated easily. And accessory dwelling units are really interesting because they not only help satisfy moderate income housing requirements, but there's a lot of research that supports the fact that they support the stabilization of neighborhoods because it provides an income source. It provides a way that folks can age in place in their own neighborhood and create that kind of longevity within their established neighborhoods. So we felt that these strategies were good. We came to the council and got the okay to move forward. These next couple of slides just basically go over from the report why these were chosen. and what the implementation measures for these specific strategies would be. Obviously, for the first one, implementing this is going to revolve around finalizing the requirements and the contracts for upgrading our sewer system, and then managing those obligations into the future and making sure that all of those targets are hit. And this one is really crucial to the expansion of our city and to moderate income housing. So we feel that this one will be well implemented in the next couple of years. Strategy 2, continue to work as we have done in the past with establishing those areas that are best suited to be rezoned to allow for moderate income housing. One thing that will be specifically helpful in this is the work that UTA and Payson City is already underway in doing with our station area planning. As part of that station area plan, we will be looking at moderate income housing requirements. And so it's actually going to help us into the future in looking at those different things. And then strategy 3, obviously just to use the opportunity that we have in looking at our zoning code rewrite to specifically look at the requirements that we currently have and for accessory dwelling units, both internal and detached, and looking at the feasibility for allowing those into the future and what other requirements would be needed to make that a viable alternative for moderate income housing.
You know, one thing that maybe you're going to add this, but all 3 of those things and all those on those lists, if we do not, and I hate to be under the gun because we would do this anyhow, but there are some in state government would love to usurp our ability to do these things. And that's why it's so important that we do these so we can show them, hands off, we're going to take care of it ourselves.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, Mayor, that sometimes I think it's important that cities show the legislature that these are things that are at the forefront of our mind. The way that we take care of our residents is really, really important to us. And so what I wanted to do just briefly in the next couple of slides was show some of the reasons of why we do this, specifically related to Payson and a little bit of data to show what's going on in Payson. So the way that I wrote this plan and the way that I'm proposing it is that Payson went through an incredible general plan update process. And as a part of that, we have a really, really great housing chapter already that has a lot of great data, a lot of great strategies, a lot of great goals. And rather than take that and take the good work that's been done and mess it up, I wanted to provide a supplement to that. And so what the data that you'll be seeing and the recommendations that you'll be seeing basically uses the data in between then and now, just to provide some updated information of why we've chosen these strategies. And the first one that I wanted to show you really quickly was just kind of what our housing situation is in Payson. Right down here, census estimates pretty accurately that we have about 6,256 housing units in the city as of 2022. Of those, a little over 5,000 are owner occupied. And then the remaining, the 1,245 are rental. That's a little different than some of our surrounding communities. Those numbers would be a little bit more even in some of our sister cities to the north a little bit. So we actually do have a large number of owner occupied units in our city. This is a table showing the number of housing permits that have been approved over the last 5 years. And you can see that there's a good number of single family detached dwellings that have been approved in Payson City. Some townhomes, some twins, and then a large number of multifamily. And this graph down here actually separates that a little bit. And you can see that this portion, the majority of multifamily have occurred within the last couple of years. And you can see that represented here. But
I thought that this data was really interesting and it told a different story than what I thought. That the number of single family dwellings, detached dwellings in our city has been pretty stable. It's gone down a little bit, but still a larger number. So I think that this shows that there are several housing units being built in our city, and that housing mix continues to grow. This one was really important and why moderate income housing is so important of a topic that we discuss. This shows household income for Payson. And it's broken down 10,000, less than 10,000, and then you can see the breakdown here. And you can see it here. You can see that the majority of people in Payson have a household income of between $50,000 and about $75,000 per year for their household. This is the telling part. Based on area median income, over 55% of Payson households are considered low income. And so those are things that we need to address. We need to make sure that we are attracting, that we're providing housing for those people, but we're also providing housing that attracts other income echelons to our city as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So this next one is really, really interesting. So as of last week, I did a very rudimentary survey of all of the houses that are available for sale and for rent in Payson based on the information that I could find. So as of last Tuesday night at 11 o'clock at night, there were 78 homes for sale in Payson. The average listed price was $551,000. The median price of all of those was $480,000, and home prices ranged from $295,000 for a 3-bedroom condo to $1.8 million for a very nice home. There was a house right outside of Payson with quite a bit of acreage that was listed for $11.8 million, and I left that one out because that outlier would have screwed all of this up a lot. But this gives a really good indication of what's for sale currently and what people are facing in our housing market currently. Additionally, I'm going to skip this part for just a second. KSL reported that there were 29 available rentals with a price range from $1,050 to $3,000 a month. I'm going to skip down to this one. This is monthly housing costs as a percentage of household income in the past 12 months. So if you make less than $20,000, there are no households making less than $20,000 that are spending less than 30% of their household income every month on housing. In the 20 to 34, 191 of those households are spending more than 30% of their household income. 35 to 50, 304. As you move up a little bit in income, the amount those households are spending a little bit less of their monthly income on housing, which is good. And then as you move to the higher income brackets, those households in Payson are actually doing pretty well because they're spending less than 20% of their household income every month on housing. That's really good. But this is for households that have already established their housing. This tells the story of how hard it is to get housing in Payson. This one over here is area median income, which in Utah County, 100% for a household of 4 is $91,000. And at 80% of AMI, which is considered low income, it's $73,000. This line says that 30% of your monthly mortgage rent, including utilities insurance, which is the recommended amount, you shouldn't be going over that. So a household of 4 making 80% should be spending no more than $1,800 on housing. And that's where this one comes in. The estimated mortgage on a $500,000 house with 10% down, which would be $55,000 in this case, is $3,787 every single month. So just
They're not doing it,
anecdotally,
are they? I mean, people aren't.
so I don't know how somebody making this could even qualify for something making that, for that kind of housing. So just anecdotally, when I bought my first home in Payson, my very first home ever. And I'm actually kind of a part of a growing trend where I didn't buy my first house until I was 36 years old. And so a lot of us are about a decade behind, quote unquote. And that house in Payson, our family spent $259,000 on that house. And we were kind of like right in here on our household income. Like we were the quintessential right there, and we could barely make that work. That house today is worth a little bit more than $555,000. So as I was doing this, and what I wanted to bring out tonight was just talking about housing is going to be something that you will hear continually as you're on the council. And it's going to be something continually that we hear as we move on in these coming years, especially as population growth comes. And so making sure that we're providing space for everybody and hopefully making these numbers a little bit better is something really important. And I think that's one of the reasons that we want to talk about moderate income housing a lot. And it's just going to be part of the normal conversation as we continue to grow. So I wanted to provide you a little bit of data, but what we really need tonight is your approval of this amendment, and then I can finish up everything and submit it to the state. The moderate income housing report this year is actually just a Google document explaining all of this, submitting all of this information. And then next year, as we move into the next fiscal year, that's going to be important as we keep track of all of these strategies and how we're moving forward. So that's all I have, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any council discussion?
So how are we gonna have moderate? I mean, I'm sure these people aren't gonna reduce their rentals, but I mean, unless becomes an abundance, everybody moves home with mom and dad.
But the market apartments.
Yeah, well, I think that we have to be cognizant of what's going on and vigilant about moving forward. Like, continue to put moderate income house and density where it's appropriate, because the only way that moderate income housing is going to remain moderate is if we keep the cost of that lower, right? And so making sure that people can access transportation, access the goods and services that they need in a closer proximity, because sometimes they might not need an extra car, and that could improve their situation greatly.
Yeah. And it really comes down, we can't control the market, but we can control people having the ability to go where they need their livelihood to be, transportation, right?
And we can continue to allow for housing that hits all of those income levels. Because sometimes I think that there's also a problem that some people that maybe can afford upper level houses aren't taking them because they're just not available.
Yeah.
Some of the data that we found has shown that as well.
And you alluded to the fact that we need to attract those higher paying jobs to our city, so our citizenry can benefit from that.
I think it's important to note that, like, we used to think that $30 an hour was a pretty good job. That's right smack dab in the middle of low income.
Yeah.
So how many houses do we need moderate income for what we've got right now?
I think we are deficient by a little over 1,000 units.
Which is probably not unusual to most any community.
Correct. Actually, we're doing pretty well because in the next little while, we'll be having some that you've already approved come online. So we have Redbridge that will be coming online that will be significant to that number.
We also have, where the station area is being
Yeah.
considered, where there will be some density there,
Yeah.
but that will be in the future.
Any other questions for me?
Okay, if there's no further, then I guess I'm ready for a motion from the council.
So we can remind this back to you for 2 months.
Please don't. You can.
But we're already past the due date.
That would not be my recommendation.
Well, I appreciate what you've done and it looked good to me and I'm ready to make a motion if you want me to, Mayor.
You bet.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance to amend the general plan regarding our moderate income housing.
Okay, we have a motion been seconded. Roll call vote starting with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Carter,
Yes.
Council Hyatt,
Yes.
Council Beecher.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. You're going to stay right there with us, aren't you? Robert?
Are we gonna keep?
Okay,
them
work
or we gonna-
session downtown Main Street Vision Project. This is what we'll be talking about to answer the young ladies' questions to a certain extent. It won't go really, really deep. Oh, Dave's going to do it. Okay, I had Robert's name
I
here.
have Robert's name too.
We talked about.
But
tabling it
this
until
this will hit some of the high points and we'll go from there.
Just kidding.
Sorry, Mayor and Council. I had it pulled up and now it's not there.
Not there. We've all had that happen to us. We ought to have some music playing a little bit, like the game shows do.
All right.
Okay, Dave.
Mayor and Council, we have been working on this Main Street project, and I know we came to you before and showed you some of the design guidelines. We have met with the property owners that have awnings coming down because we need to deal with those. I think on Monday, we're meeting with the state of Utah historical group is coming down with an architect, and we're going to meet with those property owners again to see what their suggestions would be. But the big problem that we have, and I just wanted to bring it to the council, we can discuss it. There's no decisions that need to be made, but as in any other project we have, like our sewer project and everything, costs are crazy. So our CRS engineers, we did hire Hogan Construction to work to refine these numbers. And those two have tried to come to some meeting of the minds, but as we look at the cost to do this project, the whole project, the council, we got $5 million from the state legislature. The council appropriated out of fund balance 3.2, I think. So it's 8.2 million that we have for this project, and the initial estimates were close to that to get the whole thing done. The project now is close to 15 million, $16 million. And we just don't have the money to do that. as you see here, the 15 million, and we can go through the detail if you want. It's broken out. They've cut some things down, whether we use pavers or whether we use concrete or colored concrete or regular concrete. But to do the Main Street, just the 2 blocks of Main Street, is about 8.1 million. To do the downtown Main Street going all the way to 7th South with the infrastructure underneath the water and sewer line, stuff like that, it's 15. To do all the pretty stuff up top, it's about an extra $1 million. Now, there's some savings we might be able to have, but it's not going to cut a ton off. We may, out of the 16 million, we may be able to cut it down to 15. We might could save $1 million on some of the things we could save, but it's still, about half of what we have budgeted. And so I just wanted to bring it to you because you're the governing body that would decide on the project. We are under, with the money that we got from the state of Utah, we have to use that for this project for the water and sewer. Like I say, we could do the first 2 blocks right in downtown and get the infrastructure underneath with the money we have budgeted. We have phased the different scenarios. The infrastructure, we could phase and do the parking lots later as we get money. I've got a meeting set up tomorrow. The mayor will participate in with our 2 lobbyists to see what the possibility is of getting some more money from the state. Not sure if that's going to bring fruit or not. We could also see if there's extra COVID money through the county or the state that we could apply for to help with funding. Problem is we are getting close to having this fully designed. We were planning on putting it out to bid early in the spring and start construction and get moving on it. I don't want to start moving on it if we don't have the money approved, and we don't have another 8 million in fund balance that we could use for this project. So
Looks like it's got to be phased.
and so, yeah, but we'll have to come to you with some hard discussions and questions, whether we just do the underground. And, there was some talk today in the meeting this morning with the consultants here is one of the questions that we could ask is, we wanted a water feature down Main Street. Well, this morning they said, well, we can just put a dry, it looks like a waterway, but not having water in it. And to put that in, it's about 17,000. To put the water feature in, it's an extra 220,000. So those are some of the things that we could try to cut down on, having a water feature going down Main Street.
But it doesn't cut that much out of it.
A couple of $100,000.
Yeah.
I think we just need to look at it, how they want to phase it, what they want to do. I think the important part is to get that infrastructure in and get it done. And if we tear it up and lay it out, and it's a little bit of a drive Main Street for a couple of years, I guess that's where we're at. But
I don't think we're ready to give up on it quite yet. We'll try to look
Yeah,
at
I don't
different
want to
sources.
abandon the project, and we do have to spend that money that we got from the state. We really need to fix the underground utilities. That's what we originally started this for. But
How important is it if you phased it, could you do 2 blocks, the underground a year after we did Main
We-
Street?
So
could-
how much would it cost to do just the underground and the street?
so right here, as you talk, just to do if you look down through here, and I'm sorry, it's not real big, but it has demolition and site has, the Main Street overhead and contingency. Then it has a demolition and site items. It has the road and flat work. And I'm skipping through the numbers. It has utilities and infrastructure. And then it goes down here. So just to do the underground, the utilities, curb gutter and sidewalk and do the road, it's, like I say, it's 8.1 million just for the 2 blocks downtown. It's another
We've got money for it.
it's another 7 or 8 million to do that, just to get to 7th South. So that the parking lots, the the landscaping, all the stuff above, that's extra. So, yeah, I mean,
I think the whole reason was too, and it shows how much it's went up, is it was originally planned to do from 100 to 700 that whole way. And so we don't have enough money to do that. And hopefully we can convince some of the powers that be that they need to give us some more money so that can be accomplished. Right?
yeah, we're hoping that our lobbyists can say, hey, they gave us this much, which was estimated to do all the underground. Now it's costing this much. Can we get some more money from them? And we'll try our best to look at all avenues. I just wanted to bring it to the council because it wasn't great news, and it's kind of like our sewer plant that keeps going up. I mean, costs just are outrageous on every project that we have, but we're starting to see a little bit of change with the economy, and I don't know if that's going to help the cost. I don't know if staff has any other comments to talk about downtown.
Right there.
Oh, it's the 7 and the 8.
What's that stuff? So
Yeah, but it's 15 to do 15 to do it all. So it's, yeah, 6
8
point.
million will get our infrastructure done under and road to curb and gutter.
I didn't have it as left. So you see the 6 million right there, 6.9, that's the 2 block of historic downtown. The first south to 7th south, the rest of Main Street up to 7th south is the 8.1.
That noise,
I don't think
it's loud up here. I don't know.
is it?
Okay, we'll just do it to Dave and bring it back to us.
We'll give you an update after we meet with the lobbyists. We'll try to look at other funding sources. It's just a conversation we're gonna have, and we're probably gonna have to pare it down.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, any other questions?
Hey, Robert, did you want to do the next one, the home auction, or are we going to table that?
You wanna take 3 minutes and get our input, or do we wanna take- I'm fine. If Bob comes back.
Well, I don't know. I just think it's a discussion that we should all be part of if we want to push that way. And I don't want to be the driving force, so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's table it. I make a motion, we table that.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Kirk?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Can I make one more motion?
You bet.
Can we adjourn?
Yeah, there you go. I'll accept that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Kirk?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We're adjourned.
Yes, he does.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.